You know, it occurs to me all of a sudden that there are people who are unironically bragging on the internet, unironically hyped on the internet, and unironically waiting with bated breath for the release of the Saints Row reboot. Now, I hear you already in the comments. But Dead Metal, what's wrong with people looking forward to a video game? Absolutely nothing, except when that video game is regurgitated garbage that we've seen done 4 incrementally worse times before in a franchise that deserves absolutely nothing, no less than to be shot in the head, taken out back, and buried 10 feet deep, never to be resurrected. Saints Row has always been trash. Saints Row will continue to be trash until the end of time. Saints Row remains the worst, the definitive, the reference point of an absolute cash grab, copyright infringing pile of crap. And you know it's true just like I know it's true. You've known that since 2006. You want to wind the clock back. Most of you weren't even born. Your boy Dead Metal was out here slaying the gaming scene like never before. All right? Don't get it twisted. I've watched this series come onto the scene. I've watched it attempt to make an impact and fail spectacularly. And I've watched it slow burn into obscurity where the reboot is going to remain. It is not that hard to figure it out. Saints Row is not even an appropriate title for this abortion of a video game series. I like to call it Saints Blow because that's exactly what this game does. It blows. It sucks and it blows. It sucks the fun out of every activity. People always point to one thing. They point to one thing that not only makes Saints Row a relevant video game in any discussion, which, spoiler, it's not. They point to one thing that this game they claim actually does better than Grand Theft Auto. Spoiler, it doesn't. And that is the mayhem that you can endure in the side activities. Yeah, the chaotic, ridiculous little mini games. We're bragging about mini games in Saints Row now. What is this, fucking Mario Party? Is this fucking WarioWare? Since when am I picking up a third-person open world action game with ridiculous physics and over-the-top humor to play fucking mini games? Who does that? Let's look at all the Saints Row games. We got Saints Row, Saints Row 2, Saints Row the Third, Saints Row 4, Gat Out of Hell, and all the horrible DLC that came with it. People never praise the gunplay. They never praise the driving because both of those, which are the actual core mechanics of the game, are absolute dog shit and clearly spent all of about 2 fucking days in QA testing before the stoned teenage college dropout testers gave it a thumbs up and an A+ because you can whack people with an oversized purple dildo. Okay, there is no fun to be had in the core gameplay loop. The core gameplay loop being driving, shooting, doing missions, and progressing through the story, which, speaking of the story, oh my god, I know I've said this before, but I retract every other game I've insulted with this particular chime because it has never rang more true than on Saints Row Reboot, but it's very evident in the 4 pieces of dilapidated dog shit that came before. The story feels like it was written with a 13-year-old's humor in mind by a fucking 35-year-old edgelord who moonlights in his parents' basement in a sweaty t-shirt, churning out script after script after script of this fucking Beavis and Butthead and South Park-esque humor that most people grow out of by the time they're fucking 17. It is meant to appeal to that demographic. It is meant to appeal to the preteen. Yet these sweaty, fat, gelatinous motherfuckers typing this shit up, thinking it's so funny, and sending it on over to get the stamp of approval from the execs aren't the problem. The problem is nobody has the balls to stand up to them. And the problem is you idiots buy this shit, showing just how juvenile, just how fucking stunted your mental growth actually is. If you think it's funny to take a spiked purple dildo and go beat up a pedestrian on the street with it, grow the fuck up, both figuratively and literally. Please, get your sense of humor at least on par with your age, if not wise above and beyond your years. Let me tell y'all a little story. Gather around the campfire, children. It's time for story time with Dead Metal Media. You see, when Grand Theft Auto, because these are main competitors, Saints Row, Grand Theft Auto, they go hand in hand, all right? Apples, oranges, tomato, big black cock, tight white pussy, they go hand in hand, but they could not be more different. They could not appeal to more different demographics. They could not appeal to a different set of people. One appeals to people with incredibly high IQs who are generally in professions such as doctors, lawyers, or CEOs, and the other appeals to man children and preteens. People who like to look at the toilet after they got done taking a shit and laugh at what they laid, all right? Real immature motherfuckers like that, all right? So I'm going to tell you a story. The story is this. Grand Theft Auto recently released a next-gen upgrade that got a lot of criticism because they were asking for an upgrade fee to a game that was remastered from a 2013 game that they've been milking people for years and years and years. They haven't put out GTA 6. At this point, we're only now getting confirmation GTA 6 is in the works. And people often point to me and they're like, Dead Metal, did you pay that upgrade fee? And my answer is no, I did not pay the upgrade fee. And then they call me a fucking hypocrite. And then I tell them to shut their goddamn mouth, know their place, and let the great Dead Metal finish. He did not pay. I did not pay the upgrade fee. You want to know what I did instead? After paying for the PlayStation 3 version of GTA 5 in 2013, full price, $60. After paying $60 for the PS4 version of GTA 5 in 2015, I went out and I did not pay the upgrade fee. I did not waste the $10. I went out and bought the native PS5 version for $60. That's right. I'm balls deep $180 into GTA 5 and physical copies alone, and probably upwards of $5,000 in shark cards and microtransactions online, because here's the kicker. Here's the thing that Saints Row fans don't understand. Grand Theft Auto is just that damn good. It is the pinnacle of video games. It is the pinnacle of storytelling in video games. It is the pinnacle of fun gameplay. It is the pinnacle of engaging set pieces. It is the pinnacle of video games, period. There is nothing that will be better except the inevitable GTA 6, and I will wait as long as Rockstar deems it necessary to wait, but I will absolutely not be filling my time by playing poor imitations of Grand Theft Auto such as Saints Row. Saints Row is rebooting their series because they know they went off the fucking batshit crazy rails with Saints Row forecasting you as the president. Well, I got news for you guys. You're not gonna fix it. People are over your fucking game. Nobody's gonna buy it. I hear nobody excited about this game. More people are getting their dicks hard about the internet rumor of GTA 6 possibly launching in the next 5 years than they are with your pussy little game that's going to appeal to a bunch of 12-year-old edgelords that comes out later this month. There is something called anti-hype going on with Saints Row. People can't wait for the release date to come so that it can be over. It can be done. And this game can get kicked back into the abyss of obscurity along with all the other shitty Saints Row games and all the other shitty Saints Row sequels. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage. And people, the 12 Saints Row fans that are on the subreddit jacking each other off, excited for this pile of slop, are going to sit there and dump about 1,200 hours into these ridiculous mini games like insurance fraud, pretending like they're having a good time. Well, you Simps Row fans, you're not having a good time, but there is indeed fraud going on here. And the fraud is you giving a company $60 for a reboot of a game that was a clone, a piss-poor clone back in the day, released 3 other piss-poor clone sequels, and is still today, even in its rebooted state, nothing more than a cheap bargain bin knockoff pile of dilapidated, overdone slop that you're going to consume with a smile on your face because you don't know any better, because you've never been exposed to the true open world experience. You don't have a fucking clue. There's not a bone in your body that's willing to admit that GTA does every single thing Saints Row does, but even better. And I felt this way since day one. You think back in the day in 2008, I was cruising around a septic truck in Saints Row 2 spraying people with shit? No, I wasn't. I was going bowling with Roman, which, if you're going to talk about mini games and video games, GTA has done extraordinarily better in every single facet, on every single front, in every single category, kicking the ever-loving shit out of Saints Row at its own game. At its own game. I want to sit here talking about your fucking insurance fraud and your septic tank mini games. GTA San Andreas lets me go pick up a bitch, take her out for a good meal, then go back home and fucking rail her. You Saints Row nerds, you fucking Saints Row simps are the problem. You're the virus. You're the cancer of the industry. And until you have a rebuttal, until you have an answer, until you have a mini game where I can take a chick back to my trailer in Stillwater and bang her ever-loving brains out, you haven't got a leg to stand on, you pathetic fucking losers.